Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sixers Sense podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Chris, and it's not good to be the Sixers fan after tonight, right, Chris?
No, Lucas, I apologize to everyone if I sound a little weird. We're having some audio issues on my end, but Sixers are down 3-0. Tough loss on Friday night, 108-94 at home against the visiting New York Knicks. 33 points, 9 assists for Jalen Brunson, 23 in 37 minutes for Mikal Bridges, 22 for Kelly Oubre led the Sixers tonight, had 8 rebounds. Played really hard. 18 for Joel, didn't look quite like himself. 17 for Tyrese, didn't look quite like himself. That is probably going to be a big storyline in this one. 15 for Paul George. He basically went scoreless after the first quarter. It was pretty brutal. I believe he went 0 for 9 over the final 3 quarters of this game. Yeah, this was a tough one, Lucas. Sixers started really hot, got out to a big lead early, and then just kind of fell apart. Lost every quarter after the first. What were your takeaways from this one?
Look, this game was without OG Anunoby. We thought that maybe he wasn't going to be available. He wasn't. Yeah, it didn't seem to matter. The Sixers came out with their best punch in the beginning of the first quarter. They played pretty well there. But then after that, like you said, it just wasn't there for the Sixers. And look, glad that Joel tried his best to come out, but clearly he is still hampered. He is probably 60, maybe even 55% of himself. Honestly surprised he played. It is what it is. I think at this point, I think your concerns about the depth from our last podcast is rearing its ugly head. Sixers only had 11 total bench points.
Yeah.
6 from Quinn Grimes, 2 from Dominic Barlow, 2 from Trent Wofford.
Most of those were in garbage time, effectively, too. So, yeah, they did not score a bench point in the first 3 quarters, which is just not acceptable. Really, under any circumstance, you can't win a game that way.
No.
Every starter played at least 35 minutes. Joel was the lowest at 35, 44 for Tyrese after playing 47 on Wednesday night, 40 for VJ, 38 for Paul George, and they got like a break at the end because it was a blowout. So, yeah, Lucas, down
I think this is a sweep, man. I think we get swept at this point. I don't see us coming back and winning Game 4.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, the crowd was very heavy Knicksy on Knicks fans, unfortunately. Yeah. So the environment is not what it was in the Celtics series.
We should note that the Sixers front box office tried to give away tickets instead of letting Knicks fans come. It didn't change anything.
Yeah, like you weren't allowed to buy a ticket outside the Philadelphia area effectively, but that resale market is what it is. New York fans are persistent and they're nearby, so it was inevitable. Yeah, I think it's just a lot of the same complaints that we voiced on the last episode, Lucas. The bench was horrific. New York went very deep again. Got a lot of great contributions from the bench. 15 from our old friend Landry Shamet.
Oh gosh, I wish we never traded him.
He was really good. Speaking of former Sixers who were living it up in the playoffs, he was really good tonight. Hit some really tough movement shots. Yeah, I mean, Sixers just got crushed on the glass. Another age-old issue. It hasn't been as much of a problem in the second half of the Boston series, even early in this one, but New York just crushed them in the physicality department tonight. You wish Philly could put up a better fight, but again,
I think we're just out of gas. We're out of gas.
Yeah, the tank is empty, I think. So
we emptied the tank against Boston. Fair enough. I get that. You got over. So let's talk about the ramifications of this, because I mean, I think it's safe to say that even if the Sixers do not get swept, going down 3-0, you never come back from 3-0. It doesn't happen.
It's never happened, and it's definitely not going to happen for a team.
No. So let's talk about potential ramifications here. We talked in the Boston series, getting the monkey off of Joel's back. Is it still on there? I said that I think it's only partially off because you still got to get out of the second round. That's not happening this time. I still think Joel still has that hasn't gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals. And honestly, based off health, who knows if he can or will as like a top option on a team. Now maybe he can ride the bench as like a bench guy a couple years from now, and maybe get a title that way. But I don't think. And I forget which talking head said this, but they said that I think it was Stephen A. Smith. Can't I don't know if you can win with Joel Embiid as your best player. At this point in his career, if we talk pre-knee injury, Golden State injury, then I think you could have. But right now,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I know you said you got to write it out with this team, but Chris, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Well, look, I think you're correct in the sense that, like, in the national conversation on First Take or whatever, they're never going to give Joel credit. And is it possible that he never gets out of the second round at this point? Very much so. If they're going to get further than this in the future, it will probably be as Tyrese Maxey's team, as VJ Edgecombe's team. That's probably the direction things are going. I really couldn't care less personally. Like Joel has done everything that he possibly could. He's had some really horrendous luck in his career. We've talked about it for a decade, pretty much at this point. Like he has nothing left to prove to me personally, whether that matters as
I
far
don't
as
think he has anything to prove to most Sixers fans. I think us Sixers fans understand that it's not his fault that he gets injured. It's not, weird injuries in the playoffs. It's not his fault that his teammates have crumbled under pressure. Ben Simmons. It's not his fault.
Yeah, like anyone looking at this series and blaming Joel Embiid for like anything that is within his control, I think is just being silly. Like look, this was not his best game, but he's
the Knicks are the clear favorites now in the East. I don't think that's
I think the East is wrapped up if New York doesn't.
I think Detroit probably beats Cleveland in about 5, maybe 6 games, and Detroit might put up a decent fight against the Knicks, but I don't see that. I don't see Detroit winning that. Not unless Tobias Harris continues to dominate. Speaking of former Sixers, the only non-guard to have the most 20-plus point games in the playoffs so far.
7 straight 20-point games for Tobias Harris.
Crazy work for Tobias Harris.
Good for him, I guess. Detroit has played New York very well in the past. The Knicks have a long history of combusting in the playoffs, but I would agree that barring any unforeseen injuries moving forward, it doesn't seem like OG will miss that much time. I think the Knicks are by far the favorites in the East.
I don't even know if they need OG. I don't even know if they need OG to beat the Pistons either.
I don't disagree.
They need OG if they get to the NBA Finals, clearly, because if they get to the Finals, they have a puncher's chance against the Spurs, or a semi-realistic chance. But they don't even have a puncher's chance against the Thunder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think OKC is still going to roll on, but getting to
the NBA Finals is pretty darn good. Kudos. If they end up doing that, obviously playoffs still need to play out. But look, so I guess the thing is like, people are. I got fans in my ear saying, these Sixers fans saying, "Oh, Tyrese has been crap this series." Still coming off the hand injury here, Chris. I'm not really.
Yeah. He re-aggravated it too in game 2. I think anyone watching Tyrese play right now and pretending like he's operating at full strength or questioning why he's turning the ball over like he has, why he's not taking as many shots as he should. We've seen Tyrese take over games in the Boston series like it, and we've seen Tyrese be very, very clutch in the past. I do not think this is Tyrese shrinking under the spotlight or whatever.
I think he's just injured and he's playing through it. And same thing with Joel. Look, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Joel had like 5 different things wrong with him once this series is over.
Look, we already know 3. He's got the hip, he's got the knee or ankle thing, he's got the appendectomy that was still like 3 weeks ago. So
I mean, look, the amount of times during that Boston series that they landed or hit his knee, I wouldn't be surprised if he has some type of some type of I don't know, hyperextension or something. Oh,
Yeah,
who
and
knows?
credit to the Knicks who beat him up pretty good in game one and were very physical with him tonight. That went both ways with Cat. And look, they got Cat in foul trouble. That's what they've done all series, and it just hasn't mattered. So,
Yeah, because I mean, even in the game that they didn't have Mitchell Robinson, Anunoby is an underrated small ball five. Let's be absolutely clear. He causes
yeah, and
problems.
I think a lot of our hopes coming into this series, whatever they were kind of hinging on the idea that VJ and Paul George and Kelly could slow down Brunson a bit.
Not happening.
It's tough with Joel and Andre Drummond trying to guard up at the level in their current
They
state.
can't. They can't.
They
And
can't.
Bona gets exposed defensively in the paint by both. Bona can't rebound. That's the thing. Like, he's great switching defensively and on the perimeter and all that stuff. But if your center can't rebound, then we have bigger issues.
Yeah, and look, Bonus just makes so many
Boneheaded.
mistakes.
Bona
It's
makes
hard to trust.
boneheaded decisions.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really have a ton to add beyond this. It's a really tough loss. It's a bummer. I don't even really have a ton of blame to place on any of the players.
This is
I
more. So do you
It's a Maury
blame?
thing
It's
again.
Maury. So you still don't blame Nick at all for this?
No,
All right.
do
Well,
you?
here's some homework. Working under the assumption, because I think we both agree that there's a pretty good chance the Sixers get swept. Um, we need to do some homework on what GMs and what head coaches. I think we need to have 3 GM options each and 5 head coaching options each ready to go for next episode.
Yeah, I can do that.
That is our homework.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I'm still not 100% convinced that either of them will be gone. I do think though if Maury's gone, Nurse is gone. The keep Nurse fire Maury dream is probably not realistic, like we said
No,
last
it's not
episode.
realistic, Chris. They're a package deal. Any GM worth their salt is going to bring in their own head coach.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
The real question is whoever gets hired, are they going to try to get off of Joel and Paul George for everything that it's worth?
It'll be interesting. I'm still
I know you rather run it back.
well, I just don't know how you do that realistically in this current cap environment, especially. But I'm open to those avenues. I have so much love and respect for Joel. Paul George has been our best player in these playoffs, front to back. Really, tonight was a bit rough, but I don't think it's those guys' fault again that we're in this position. I'm just frustrated that we finally got as close to a healthy starting five as we're gonna get, and we just don't have even. We've always had depth issues, but it's never been this bad. They
Well,
just
that's
have
what
zero
happens when you
support.
sign 3 max players, Chris. I mean, that's the real.
Again, that's true to an extent, but there are plenty of
I
teams
mean,
with
that's
high
part of the reason why we were
payroll.
able to beat Boston. They have 2 guys making over 60 million a year, and they couldn't add any more quality depth outside of Derek White, really. So,
Fair
though
enough.
I will say, I think the trading for Vooch and not keeping Anthony Simons probably hurt them against us. But that's
But
we're
you
done.
look at the Knicks, that starting five is extremely well compensated for their time. The
Yeah,
Knicks
but that's spread
spending
across
a lot of
5
money.
players versus just 2
Sure,
or
but
3.
there are ways to build a bench without a ton of
Well,
financial
okay,
flexibility.
let's talk about the Knicks
Shamet,
bench. You
Clarkson,
got 3 guards that you can
these
play,
are
right?
all Alvarado at the
And you
deadline.
got a center that you can play. And the
Yeah,
rest of
yeah,
the time you just go small ball, right? Because you can play Hart or Anunoby or theoretically even Bridges at power forward, right? You can play those 3, but they don't have a real playable wing depth outside. They have guards and they have a center. That's how they do it.
well,
And then they just shift around, Hart, Bridges, and Anunoby. That's how they do it. They don't
they
have.
do have wing depth. They have 3 elite or high quality starting wings that they can stagger because they have the guards to come in behind them.
Well,
So
yeah, that's but I'm talking about coming off the bench. That's what
I
I
know,
mean.
but I'm saying there's multiple ways to you know skin the cat, so to speak.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, that's fair. That's
if
fair.
you
But
have
like,
enough depth at other positions and you have a strong starting five with five guys that you can trust,
mhm,
you can stagger and make the
yeah.
lineups work.
And technically, they have even more than that because you have okay. So the three top guards coming off the bench is McBride, Landry, and Jose Alvarado. And then you still have Jordan Clarkson and Tyler Kolek, which I think are two pretty good guards too, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, and look, I mean, even on the wing front, he's not playing in this series, but Mo Diawara gave them some really good minutes in the regular season. Like, Porty is a very legitimate third center. Like, they have real depth that Philly just can't match. So,
And Jeremy, well, I'm not going to count Jeremy Sohan. He's kind of looking.
sure, but like as their 11th or 12th guy, he's significantly better than Philly's 11th or 12th guy. So,
Yeah.
I do think it is possible to work around the margins well enough to have more than six playable players.
Well, okay. Let's look at Daryl Morey because we graded all of his Sixers
Speaking
moves,
of
but
like McCain
but
again had 18 points in what 18
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
last night.
Landry
Like,
Shamet. Well, Landry wasn't his fault. That was another guy in the front office. That was Elton Brand's fault, really. But no. Let's look at Morey because I saw a tweet last tonight and it made all the sense in the world. Daryl Morey was the guy that drafted Royce White in the first round, knowing that this guy is petrified of planes. Is still drafting him in the first round anyway. Like
I,
that's Morey. So like
yeah.
let's make it make sense, right? So
Yeah,
that's
look,
my
I,
hope.
I think Maury has done a very good job in the draft. I have no criticisms of him from that standpoint.
I'm
It's
just
how
saying
he
like
is.
that's the type of guy and that's the type of logic that the Sixers have running the front office. That's
I think his logic is that he really prioritizes star power, which we knew coming in, and that he's just not as concerned with 6 through 18
no, he
as
cares
most
about
other guys. And
six,
I
but
don't
then
think that
after
logic
six he
works
doesn't care.
the
Yeah.
way now that it maybe used to in Houston. The league has changed. Teams are playing so much more physically than they were in that like Golden State Houston heyday 10
Yeah.
years ago or whatever. Like, the
The
league
league
has
has gotten
changed.
bigger again too.
And frankly, Maury, who was really ahead of the curve with the analytics stuff in Houston, the rest of the league has caught up. These teams are smarter. They're building better. So I think Maury is not, maybe not behind the curve, but I think the curve has at least caught up. He's on the curve now. So
Yeah.
I really hope that they move on and find a new guy and find the right guy or girl to run the front office. But um,
Is there any high-ranking female execs? I mean, I'm asking. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be
I
opposed to
don't.
it. I'm just curious.
I would need to do the research.
Yeah.
I'll bring five to
We
the
could hire.
table.
We could bring back Lindsey Harding to be our head coach. She is a
Yeah,
high-ranking.
I'd be open to all avenues
Mm-hmm.
as far as that is concerned. But
But look, we have to get through Game 4 first. However painful that may or may not be, and then we'll go from there. I'm
yeah,
sure. I'm sure if there is going to be a change. See, this is the thing that kind of like I think if we get swept, that kind of negates the whole entire Boston coming back and beating Boston.
I don't think so. I mean,
Not from the fan perspective, but like job security for Morey and for
sure. Yeah,
Nurse. I think
I
that
think
kind
that's
of
fair.
negates their safety net that they built.
I think that's fair because this whole situation is totally preventable. I think the front five, the top five, the starters are more than capable of hanging with the Knicks or beating the Knicks. Like, best
But they
five on
can't
best
be playing
five.
40 plus minutes a night.
We're there with anyone. It's the bench that's just completely inexcusable and was so clearly preventable just this season from the mistakes they made at the deadline. Not only trading Jared, but getting no one at all. And not doing anything with the extra picks, the extra flexibility in theory that you had after that, and the Paul George suspension. There's so many missed opportunities and missteps on the margins from Daryl this year and in years past. And it's just really caught up to Philly at an unfortunate time against the team that we all probably don't like very much, unfortunately, in the Knicks. So I'm pretty bummed. I think most Sixers fans are.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that is fair. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is now. Now we gotta, look at the off season, and I definitely want to talk when we get to it, like the new draft stuff, how that impacts our picks moving forward and everything. So we'll definitely have a conversation about that. And maybe we'll talk about potential landing spots for Joel, Paul George, or even Maxey if you really want to go that far into a rebuild. But we have plenty of time to talk about that. But let's go ahead and wrap things up here, because look, I'm getting depressed talking about this more. Look, the Sixers at the end of the day, could they win Game 4? Yes. Will they? Yet to be determined. And on that note, I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Sixer Sense podcast. Like, subscribe, follow along if you can. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at the Sixer Sense. You can find us on TikTok at the Sixer Sense, and we are on Twitter at Sixer Sense. I'm at Kline and BA on Twitter. Lucas is at Coach J_20. And until next time, go Sixers. We'll talk soon.
Let's go Sixers.